Okay, Friday, August the 23rd, 2019, and the year is whizzing by. I'm down in Hampshire, just over the Surrey border, in Bentley here, just about to undertake 12.5 miles approximately to Farnham, which is a station just down the line towards London there. The full main walk is about 15 mile, just over, but I probably won't have time to complete that today, albeit that it's a cracking day. It's about 7 hours walking time that. I think today I'll be pushing 6 as it is. Dusk is around 8 o'clock now, unfortunately. It's 1 o'clock already. It's quite a trek down here, 2.5 hours from where I am. So didn't want to chance my arm with doing the full main walk, which means I will be missing the Scottish scenery out, i.e. Scots pines and heather, which will be in full bloom currently. But I'll see how I feel, or what the situation is when I get to the decision point, which is by some small pond, I believe. But the chances are, as I say, I will complete just the 12.5 miler today. It's about 20 odd degrees at the minute, 24 or 5 degrees. Very pleasant day, which is why I've chosen it for today's walk. So free walk 181, I think it is, awaits us. Nope, that's a good start. It's 184. And unusually today, the train stopped at platform 1, not platform 2. So I need to cross over that footbridge there to get on track, so to speak. Right, per the instructions, to ignore that gate into a field, which is no longer white, but is signposted as a footpath there, as you can just about make out. Instead, following this one at the end of the platform to Alice Holt. This is in fact part of the Shipwrights Way, bits of which I've done in the past. So we follow this now for about 3.7 kilometres. Continue on past this cross paths here. Early signs of autumn here. Cob nuts on the floor. Passing the arboretum. Those nuts could obviously be hazelnuts, but I do believe they're cob. As you can see, there's now a large pond on my right. Journey underfoot at the moment is pretty easy. It's like walking on a pavement, really. Very pleasant woodland walking. Not much in the way of bird song. It's absolutely still as well. And it just makes me wonder what's going on out in Brazil at the minute with the Amazonian forest fires. Seems no matter what we do in the West to deal with climate change, other countries just do not accept it and are doing everything to thwart what we're doing. Bad news, it needs to be stopped very quickly. Looks like I'm following the adaptation trail, whatever that is. Have a look on the Forestry Commission website for Alice Holt. First evidence of the shipwright's way here, just outside Alice Holt Lodge. Over there on my left apparently. We leave the tarmac track here, continue sort of ahead along the wide gravel track. That must be Alice Holt Lodge over there on the left. I have heard of her name before on one of my walks, but I can't remember where and what she's about, but no doubt Google will tell us. This juncture, main track goes right, we take left, which is still the shipwright's way. Now following a pleasantly cool tree tunnel, and it being 1:30, good protection from the sun. Just about to cross the busy A325. Which, as you can see, is on the edge of Buckthorn Oak. Once you reach this bench and broad cycle track, you do a sharp right, still following the shipwright's way. And one thing I dislike about this walk already so far is the amount of people I'm encountering. Okay, it is pre-August bank holiday, but the manicured nature of the paths, etc., seems to attract the crowds. Small lizard, whether it be common or possibly sand, I'm not sure, just ran across my path, almost trod on it, so hopefully it was common and not a sand. Anyway, it's still living to tell the tale. The Alice Holt Forest Education Centre here. I must find out who she is. Oh dear, they've got a Go-Ape here, which will mean plenty of noise from kids. I didn't see any four-fingered signpost, but clearly the entrance to the visitor centre is obvious. Do a right here, straight through it. Well, all that doesn't do much for me. The quicker I get away from it, the better. On a hot summer's day, too much going on for my liking. So there's the marker post with the red and white 2B on it, per the text. Our onward journey is downhill right here, having just come from that way. Now the problem with introducing all these things like Go-Ape into these woods is that it drives away the very nature that you're coming out to see. As I've mentioned on previous walks, not a great fan of all of this urbanisation of our countryside, because that's effectively what it is. If you have to bring people out on their bikes, etc., and not for the other reasons of an enjoyment of nature and interest in it, then I'm not a great fan of that. It's just a reflection of the fact that our cities are so crowded and there's no room for that sort of thing in them. In fact, the whole country's overloaded, so that's the end of it all, really. So, having left the 3W marker post referred to in the text 50 metres behind me, we now get into terrain more appropriate to my liking, away from the pushchairs, the kids and the cyclists, and the noise, as you can hear. The text refers to this section as being potentially muddy, and indeed it could be, because even now on a dry August day it's a bit springy underfoot and there are puddles around. Good for my joints though. I think this must be the indistinct T-junction, referred to in the text, where I take a left. I don't think it's that indistinct. You can't go straight on, so you have no option really. Okay, I didn't see a no horses sign, i.e. one of these with a line through it, 5 metres prior, but I'm assuming this is the right direction to the road referred to in the text. GPS certainly seems to indicate so. Passing the small green referred to in the text, plenty of apples there, lovely to see. Small variety, bigger than crab, I don't know what they are. Anyway, I believe that's the Bluebell Inn referred to on my left over there. Indeed it is, and it's simply called the Bluebell actually, Dockenfeld. It is open, though you wouldn't think so, judging from the quiescence roundabout. Decent garden, very pleasant. 3 mile into the walk this is, almost exactly. There's the opening hours. Now walking down this pleasantly quiet lane past the pub garden. Now following the bridleway next to Billswood Common, which is a wildlife area. As you can see, we're relatively elevated here. Potential good picnic spot as well, if you're a late starter like me today, or if you trust that bench, which looks a little bit dilapidated. There's the warning note of something up there. I don't recognise it. Possibly a warbler of some kind. Anyway, one that I don't recognise. Just like I don't recognise that lovely fire-coloured plant there. Is it native? It's in between that flag. Lovely colours. Leave the lane here, continue on this bridleway. Just after the houses behind me. Ignore that footpath on your left, because we're on this bridleway now for the best part of a kilometre. And as you can see, scenery is a bit different now. So thus far, very interesting variety of scenery. Very good. This poor ash is getting attacked from every angle. Bracket fungus on the stem, trunk, woodpecker holes as well. And of course, ash dieback on the crown. Won't be about for much longer, I wouldn't have thought. Terrible. Interesting host over there, double-ended one. Don't see them too often. What a glorious day it's turned out to be, eh? Decent walking surfaces thus far as well. Crossing over the River Way by Mill Cottage just behind me. Very pastoral view here, just in front of Mill House. Just walked up the driveway of Mill House opposite the mill pond. Well, as you can see, the text is dead right. This footpath can be muddy. Never mind winter. This is deepest August on a hot sunny day, and the footpath bridleway is heavily rutted, and that's the problem. Horses again. So you have the River Way down on my right and the grounds of Frensham Manor up on the left here somewhere, and our path in the middle of them. The evil invader that is Japanese balsam, or sorry, Himalayan balsam, getting it mixed up with knotweed. Terrible. Decimates our riverbanks, and there's loads of it here. So there you have it. Just as we walk past a fishing lake, no doubt. Soon find out, no doubt. Better view of it here. Just over there on the right, you've got the Best Western Frensham Ponds Hotel, which is also a restaurant. Possible lunchtime stop. Little walking map here of the Frensham Loop. And in front of me, Frensham Great Pond, with a busy A road in the distance that we have to cross, and the heather in its glory. Up on the hillside. Believe it or not, I read a report yesterday that the mallard is on the wane. Does strike me as rather surprising, but yeah, by all accounts they're not as numerous as they used to be. Good spread there of the heather, starting to get into that terrain now. Still hear a chiff-chaff in the distance as well. Some irony there. Let nature be your teacher. And just at the end of the bench, pile of plastic and tin. Classic Surrey heathland now. Wonderful. Okay, this must be the signboard advising where you can swim, referred to in the text. And it's quite amazing. Wasn't expecting this. More people on this beach than there was at Clacton a couple of weeks ago. Information centre over there on the left.
Shall we go to the shade?
So I'm following this footpath symbol between fences and assuming this is the right way. Don't particularly want to go down to the beach, to be honest with you. Who needs the med, eh? That's quite amazing really. All this sand makes for a pretty tough walking, mind. So luckily there's not much of it. And here are the bus stops referred to in the text, where we cross the busy A287. Quite amazing scenery really. This is obviously Greensand, because we'll be on the Greensand way later if I take the route that I intend taking. So you've got Scots pine here, heather. Fantastic. As the author of this walk said, could almost be in Scotland here, apart from the good weather. Amazing. Looking back towards Frensham Great Pond and whence I've come, as I start to climb now. Amazing. Follow this broad track apparently, passing a fenced in burial mound on the left, which I saw on the way up. There she blows. Quite amazing the variety of scenery we have in this country, and all slowly being eroded by man in his desire to build ever more housing estates when they're not needed. Got so many brownfield sites that could be used instead, so many empty houses up north, etc, etc. Madness. Frensham Little Pond coming into view now on my right. What fantastic scenery this is, eh? Especially on a day like today. Wonderful. Scots pine, gorse, heather. Fantastic. Not much bird song or activity, mind you. Too hot, I guess. Here's the bench and birch stump referred to in the text, and I'm going to have a little breather here, seeing as we're almost halfway through the walk now, 6¼ miles under the belt. So, and a cracking view at that, eh? I think a breather's in order. Great walk so far, despite my moaning earlier about the noise and kids, etc. in the Go-Ape area. You're going to get that in school holidays, but simple way to avoid that is not go during the school holidays, I guess. Right, cup of tea. And as you can just about make out, this bench is in loving memory of Bronwyn Sharp, 1939 to 2004, I think that is. Excuse the wobble there. So she lived a good age. Well, reasonable, 65. Not that brilliant, I suppose. Anyway, Bronwyn, thanks. Okay, 4:15, my little sojourn finished. Now the onward journey for me, as I indicated earlier, is going to be the shorter version of this walk, which, having just read that over lunch there, or my breathing space, not lunch really, is straight ahead, but the main walk continues right along that broad track out that way through army lands ultimately. But I'm not going to do that today because, as I say, it's already 4:15 and I don't think I'll get it done before daylight expires. So, judgment call was made over my cup of tea, and it's going to be the shorter version with the softer ending. So straight ahead for the shortened walk, turn right here for the main walk, 15 miler, or nearly 16 from what I saw. You've got two paths here. Take the one closest to the water. Contrary to the regulations, swimming is occurring here today. Passing the National Trust's Turn Cafe, open 10 to 5. Looks like a very nice place to work, not dissimilar to the one I worked at in Sheringham. Outdoor picnic tables and what have you. But it is very annoying that they're selling cans, plastics, and people are abusing the rules and swimming in the pond. All wrong. The SO pipeline referred to in the text. Onward journeys through the trees there, next to it. Now following this byway. Once again, after the open expanse of the heathlands, this provides pleasant respite from the overhead sun. Lovely and cool in here. Got a footbridge here over what is probably a stream in the winter months. Absolutely bone dry now. Got a wonderful toadstool there. Fantastic. Several of them knocking around. It's that time of year again. Okay, about 800 metres in now. Take a left here onto this footpath through the trees. Wonderful. Away from the madding crowd in here now, just as I like it. More Himalayan balsam, so there must be water close by. Nightmare of a plant. Bit of a boardwalk here, so presumably boggy in winter, confirming my thoughts that water's not far, possibly the other side of that tree line there. Good work by the Farnham ramblers here, this boardwalk. Well done. Yes, just as we approach Meadow End Farm on the map, I've had a look at it, and there is a river the other side of that tree line. Probably a tributary of the Wey. Now walking along this newly surfaced lane, which is quite springy underfoot. So new is it. Wonder how long this will last. So leave the newly asphalted track, which incidentally has only been down a week, just bumped into the owner of the farm, and we branch off left here. Another pleasant section of woodland walking, with the river over on my left, and some hillier areas on my right. Wonderful mixed natural woodland. No invasive species in here from what I can see, other than the balsam down by the riverbanks, and that is a terrible thing to remove. You have to get the root ball out. So come out onto Tilford Village Green and the Barley Mow pub yonder. Early tea time stop, I'd suggest that is. Can't remember if I've been here before. most likely have. Don't recognise it though. So this seems to remind me that I have been down this way before. This being the original bridge. That's the new one on its right as I look at it. So this oak is a good age, 117 years old. Mere teenager though in the age of oaks. Got the old village cricket club over there, which interestingly is across the main road, as you can now see. There's the pitch, which slopes somewhat. There's the barley mow again. Very good. Nice external eating area. That doesn't bode well, does it? These bridge works. Interesting how they divert the river though. While they do the work, I can feel the doesn't feel very solid, this bridge. Thankfully the bridleway I want is just after the bridge and still open. Another pleasant section of shaded tree-lined tree tunnel walking. This walk has panned out well today, I feel, the version of it that I've chosen. Well, I didn't notice much topiary or good views on my left, come to it. But that's an interesting feature. Obviously attached to this barn conversion, which is nicely done. So at this juncture, continue on the right hand fork, which is the byway. Okay, that's Sheep Hatch Farm. No sign of any letterbox though, thus far. There it is, their own personal letterbox. And now continuing on the bridleway opposite. Fantastic walking thus far. CCTV now operating. Well, I'd love to know how it works. Does it operate via solar panels or how? And why isn't it being used to enforce more litter dumping? Absolutely outrageous. Wonderful smell of pine needles in here now as we descend down this byway. Wonderful. Do a left here just in front of the gate as indicated by the byway symbol, the red one. This is outrageous, it really is. Look at this. Someone sat here, had their lunch and left the plastic behind. Absolute ridiculous. And presumably that's a walker. And if they're not looking after the environment, then we've got no hope at all. Could be pretty wet and muddy here in the winter. Just walking past Stella Lodge here, and it reminds me that I have done this section of walking before. Certainly one of the Farnham walks takes this very route. Yes, and here we pass Mother Ludlam's cave. Google that. Moor Park Heritage Trail. That cave is full of bats of various types, I recall. Little memento here, giving their support to the Moor Park Heritage site. Another information panel here next to this pillbox about Moor Park and World War II, which you can Google if you're interested. Very pleasant walk in this. Well, it looks like the old floristry school that used to be here just in 2004-05 time has gone. The Packham sister used to have a floristry school here at Moor Park, but I haven't seen it yet. I'm sure it was around about here. Lots of new development though, residential. Yep, that's the old entrance I went in to see my ex, who was doing floristry here. So it's now called Moor Park House Way. I'll have to Google that and look into it. That's very sad. So we've just crossed over the North Downs Way there, as you can see, which runs along Compton Way, parallel to Moor Park House Way. And we continue down Moor Park Lane. So, joining the North Downs Way now. Couple of roe deer I think over there as we yep, on the last couple of yards now, soon be at Farnham. Very pleasant evening it is as well. Looks like a mother and a young one. Passing under the railway bridge, so that tells you we haven't got far to go. Interesting, I don't recall this being here last time I came along this bit of the North Downs Way. You can now access the Wild Bean Cafe and M&S store here for those that want to. Refreshments. 153 mile to go. Just gone 7:15, and that was a very good 13.25 miles completed in 5.25 hours. Very good. Lots of variety in that walk, as you can see. Woodland, riverbank and heathland. So highly recommended that walk. Free walk 184 completed. Beautiful conditions.
During the warm weather, please carry water with you, and if you feel unwell, talk to a member of our team.
Yeah, sorry about that disturbance, but yeah, very good walk. Till the next time.